The blood on my keyboard is still wet when Vincent Carver walks into my office. I'm not supposed to be here. It's 11 p.m. on Christmas Eve, and the 47th floor of Carver Industries should be empty, silent, locked down for the holidays. But I needed the overtime pay. Needed to finish the quarterly reports. Needed to prove I'm indispensable enough that they won't fire the single mother who's been late 3 times this month because her daughter's daycare keeps calling about fevers and falls. The blood isn't mine. It's from the paper cut I got opening the stack of mail that someone left on my desk. The mail nobody else wanted to sort through because it's Christmas Eve, and they all have families, parties, lives that don't revolve around proving their worth every single day. And then there's the letter. I'm holding it when he walks in, my boss's boss's boss, the man who owns this building and half of Chicago, the man whose face I've seen exactly twice in the 8 months I've worked here. Vincent Carver. 6'3" of tailored menace in a charcoal suit that probably costs more than my annual salary. His eyes are the color of a frozen lake, and right now they're fixed on me like I'm a problem that needs solving. Miss Hayes. His voice is smooth, controlled, the kind of voice that doesn't need to rise to command attention. You're working late. It's not a question. Nothing he says sounds like a question. I set the letter down carefully, face down, and try to wipe the blood off my finger without him noticing. Yes, sir. The quarterly reports needed. I didn't ask why. He moves closer, and I catch the scent of his cologne, something dark and expensive, cedar and smoke. I asked your name, your actual name, not the one on your employee file. My throat goes dry. Thea Hayes. Thea. He repeats it slowly, like he's testing how it sounds, like he's deciding whether to remember it or forget it. You have a daughter. It's not a question. Again. I nod carefully, wondering how he knows, wondering what else he knows. Vincent Carver didn't build an empire by being uninformed. Everyone in Chicago knows his name, knows the rumors, that Carver Industries is just the legitimate face of something much darker, that the shipping contracts and real estate deals hide a network of controlled violence and strategic power. I've never wanted to know the truth. I've kept my head down, done my work, stayed invisible, until tonight. How old? He asks. 6. My voice sounds strange, too small in this massive corner office with its floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the glittering city. He extends his hand, and for a terrifying moment I think he wants me to shake it, but then I realize he's gesturing to the letter I set down. May I? I should say no. I should grab my coat, my bag, my daughter's hand-drawn Christmas card from my desk drawer and run. But Vincent Carver isn't the kind of man you say no to. Not if you want to keep your job. Not if you want to keep breathing. I hand him the letter. He turns it over, and I watch his expression change. Just slightly. Just a microflexion at the corner of his mouth that might be the beginning of something human. The letter is written in purple crayon on construction paper, the letters big and uneven, some backward. There's a drawing at the top, a stick figure man in a black suit with a yellow star on his chest. Dear Santa, my name is Lily Hayes, and I am 6 years old, and I have been very good this year. I know you are very busy, but I only want one thing for Christmas. I want a dad like my mom's boss. I saw him one time when Mom took me to work, and he was wearing a nice suit, and he smiled at me, and nobody ever smiles at me like that, like, I matter. Mom says he is important and busy, but I think he would be a good dad because he looks strong, and Mom needs someone strong because she cries at night when she thinks I'm sleeping. I don't want toys or games, I just want Mom to be happy and safe and not scared all the time. Thank you, Santa. I left you extra cookies. Love, Lily. The silence that follows is suffocating. Vincent reads it twice, then a third time. His jaw tightens with each pass, and when he finally looks up at me, there's something in his eyes I can't name. Something dangerous and careful and entirely too attentive. Your daughter wrote this? His voice has changed, softer, sharper. I didn't know she... I'm stammering, my professional composure crumbling. It was in the mail pile. Someone must have thought it was company correspondence, and I'm so sorry, Mr. Carver. I'll explain to her that she can't. You cry at night. I stop breathing. She says you cry at night when you think she's sleeping. He sets the letter down gently, deliberately, his movements controlled in a way that suggests violence is always an option he's consciously choosing not to take. Why? That's not appropriate, sir. Neither is working until midnight on Christmas Eve because you're afraid of being fired. He takes another step closer, and I'm trapped between my desk and the weight of his attention. Neither is a 6-year-old girl being so worried about her mother that she asks Santa for protection instead of toys. My eyes are burning. I will not cry in front of Vincent Carver. I will not give him that. I can handle my own problems, I say, and I'm proud that my voice doesn't shake. Can you? He tilts his head slightly, studying me like I'm a puzzle with missing pieces. Your ex-husband, Ryan Hayes. He's out of prison. The floor drops out from under me. How do you... I know everything about everyone who works in my building, Miss Hayes, especially the ones who stay late, work hard, and never ask for help. His expression doesn't change, but something in his tone shifts. Colder now, more certain. He was released 3 weeks ago. Parole violation likely within 6 months, statistically speaking. He has your home address. He's contacted you twice since his release, hasn't he? I can't speak, can't move. Vincent reaches into his jacket, not for a weapon, but for his phone. He types something quickly, then pockets it again. You're going to finish your work, he says calmly, like he hasn't just detonated my entire world. Then you're going to go home, pack whatever you and your daughter need for the next week, and you're going to move into one of my properties, penthouse suite, Lakeshore Drive, 24-hour security. I can't. Yes, you can. He cuts me off with surgical precision, because in approximately 40 minutes, your ex-husband is going to violate his restraining order for the 3rd time. He's currently at a bar 6 blocks from your apartment, and he's been drinking for 3 hours. He'll go to your building. He won't find you there. My hands are shaking. Why are you doing this? For the first time, something almost like a smile crosses his face. But it's not warm. It's the smile of a man who's decided something, and once Vincent Carver decides something, the universe rearranges itself to comply. Because your daughter asked Santa for a father who looks strong. He picks up the letter again, folding it carefully and slipping it into his jacket pocket. And I'm going to give her what she asked for. 40 minutes later, the penthouse smells like pine and leather and money. Lily is asleep on the sectional sofa, wrapped in a cashmere throw that probably costs more than our monthly rent, her stuffed rabbit tucked under her chin. She woke up long enough to see the Christmas tree, a massive, professionally decorated thing with white lights and silver ornaments, and whisper, "It's magic," before sleep claimed her again. I should be grateful. I should be relieved. Instead, I'm standing at the floor-to-ceiling windows, staring at the frozen lake below, trying to understand what just happened. Vincent Carver orchestrated our escape from my apartment with the efficiency of a military operation. A black SUV, 2 silent men in tactical gear who swept our building, packed our essentials, and transported us here like we were precious cargo. No small talk, no explanations, just swift, competent action. And now I'm alone with him in this ridiculous penthouse, and he's pouring himself 2 fingers of scotch like this is perfectly normal. Drink? He offers. I don't drink. You should start. But he doesn't push it. He just settles into the leather armchair across from where Lily's sleeping, his posture relaxed, but his eyes sharp, always sharp. Your ex-husband is currently in police custody. DUI, attempted breaking and entering, parole violation. He'll be back in prison by morning. How did you... I made a phone call. He says it like it's nothing, like reshaping reality is just another item on his to-do list. He won't bother you again. I should ask what that means. I should demand details. But I'm exhausted, terrified, and standing in a stranger's penthouse on Christmas Eve, and I don't have the energy to interrogate the man who just saved my daughter from seeing her father drunk and violent on Christmas morning. Thank you, I whisper. Vincent's expression doesn't change. Don't thank me yet. What does that mean? He takes a slow sip of his scotch, and for the first time, I notice the details I missed in the chaos, the faint scar along his jawline, the calluses on his knuckles, the way he sits like a man who's always calculating exits and threats and angles of attack. It means, he says carefully, that what I just did will have consequences. Your ex-husband isn't working alone. He owes money to people who don't forgive debts. When they find out I've interfered, they'll want to know why. They'll want to know who you are to me. My stomach twists. I'm nobody to you. That's not true anymore. He sets his glass down with deliberate precision. The moment I moved you into my property, under my protection, with my security team, I made a statement. In my world, Miss Hayes, statements matter. Your world, I repeat slowly, and suddenly all the rumors don't feel like rumors anymore. I'm talking about the reality of who I am and what I control. His voice doesn't rise, but the authority in it is absolute. I run this city, Thea, not the mayor, not the police commissioner, me. And when Vincent Carver moves a woman and her daughter into his personal penthouse on Christmas Eve, every organization within 100 miles takes notice. I should be terrified. I am terrified, but I'm also angry. So what am I now? I demand, my voice sharper than I intended. Your charity case? Your good deed for the year? Some kind of symbol to wave around to prove you're not just my responsibility. He cuts through my spiraling with 2 words. That's what you are now. Mine to protect, mine to provide for, mine to defend. The possessive pronoun lands like a brand. I didn't ask for that. No, he agrees. Your daughter did. And just like that, he's disarmed me completely. I look over at Lily, sleeping peacefully for the first time in weeks, and I feel something crack open in my chest. Something I've kept locked down and controlled because single mothers don't have the luxury of falling apart. She shouldn't have written that letter, I say quietly. She doesn't understand. She understands that you're scared. Vincent stands, and suddenly he's close, too close, his presence overwhelming in the dim light of the penthouse. She understands that you need help. She's 6 years old, and she's already learned that the adults in her life can't keep her safe. Do you know how that happens, Thea? I can't answer. My throat is too tight. It happens, he continues, his voice low and intense, when a mother sacrifices everything to keep her daughter fed and housed and clothed, and still wakes up every morning knowing it's not enough. It happens when a little girl watches her mother work herself to exhaustion and still sees the fear in her eyes. Your daughter didn't ask Santa for toys because she already knows the world doesn't give her what she wants. She asked for the one thing she's never had, a father who could make her mother stop crying. Stop. My voice breaks. Just stop. But he doesn't stop. He reaches out, slowly, giving me time to pull away, but I don't, and his hand cups my jaw, tilting my face up to meet his eyes. I don't do charity, Vincent says quietly. I don't do good deeds. Everything I do serves a purpose, builds toward a goal, strengthens my position. But that little girl asked Santa for me specifically. She drew my picture. She thinks I smile at her like she matters. You did smile at her, I whisper. 3 months ago, in the lobby. I thought you didn't even notice us. I notice everything. His thumb brushes across my cheekbone, and I should pull away, should establish boundaries, should remember that this man is dangerous and powerful, and definitely not someone I should be letting touch me. But I'm so tired of being strong, so tired of being scared. What do you want from me? I ask. His smile is slow, dangerous, and entirely too honest. I don't know yet, but I'm going to find out. Christmas morning. Lily discovers the presents at 6:47 a.m. I'm barely awake, disoriented in the massive guest bedroom with its silk sheets and blackout curtains, when I hear her shriek of joy from the living room. I stumble out of bed, my heart racing with instinctive panic, but it's not danger, it's wonder. The Christmas tree is surrounded by wrapped presents. Not a few, dozens. Elaborate bows, professional wrapping, name tags, and elegant script. To Lily, from Santa. She's sitting in the middle of them, still in her unicorn pajamas, her eyes wide and shining. "Mama!" She sees me and bounces to her feet. "Santa came! He came here, he knew where we were!" And standing in the kitchen, drinking coffee like this is completely normal, is Vincent Carver. He's wearing black pants and a charcoal sweater, casual for him, I suppose, though he still looks like he could run a board meeting or orchestrate a hostile takeover at any moment. His hair is slightly mussed, and there's a laptop open on the counter because apparently even on Christmas morning, Vincent Carver works. Our eyes meet across the open space, and something passes between us, some unspoken acknowledgement that everything changed last night, and we're both still figuring out what that means. "Mr. Carver bought those," I say carefully, moving toward Lily. "Not Santa." "Santa asked me to help," Vincent says smoothly, and I'm startled by how natural he sounds, how easily he shifts into this role. "He knew you'd be staying here, so he dropped them off early." Lily studies him with the serious intensity only 6-year-olds can manage. "Are you really my mom's boss?" "I am." "Are you going to be my dad like I asked?" The air in the room changes. Vincent sets his coffee down slowly, and for the first time since I met him he looks uncertain, just for a heartbeat, just long enough for me to see that this terrifying, powerful man has no idea how to answer a 6-year-old's direct question. "Lily," I start, but Vincent holds up a hand. He walks over, crouches down so he's at her eye level, and his voice when he speaks is gentler than I've ever heard it. "Being a dad is a big job," he says seriously. "It's not something you decide in one day, but I can promise you this. I'm going to make sure you and your mom are safe. I'm going to make sure nobody hurts you, and I'm going to be around a lot more so you'll get to know me. Is that okay?" Lily considers this with grave importance. Then she nods. "Okay. Can I open presents now?" "Yes." She dives into the pile with unbridled joy, and I'm left standing there, my emotions a tangled mess of gratitude and fear and something dangerously close to hope. Vincent stands, returning to his coffee, and I follow him into the kitchen. "You didn't have to do this," I say quietly, gesturing to the mountain of gifts. "Yes, I did." He doesn't look at me, his eyes fixed on Lily tearing into wrapping paper. "She asked for one thing. I'm giving her everything else until I figure out if I can give her what she actually wants." Vincent, you can't just decide to be someone's father because a 6-year-old wrote a letter to Santa." "Why not?" Now he does look at me, and the intensity in his gaze makes my breath catch. I've built an empire by deciding what I want and making it happen. I've controlled this city for 15 years through strategy, force, and absolute certainty. Why can't I decide that I want this? That I want you and her in my life, in my space, under my protection? "Because we're not a business acquisition," I snap. "We're people. Complicated, messy, traumatized people who you don't actually know." "Then let me know you." He steps closer, and I'm backed against the kitchen counter, trapped by his presence and the heat of his attention. "Let me learn you. Let me figure out what you need, what scares you, what makes you feel safe. Give me time, Thea." "Why?" I whisper. "Why do you even care?" His hand comes up, tucking a strand of hair behind my ear, and the gesture is so intimate, so unexpected, that I forget to breathe. "Because for 15 years, he says quietly, "I've built walls. I've eliminated threats. I've controlled everything within a 100-mile radius, and I've done it alone because alone is safe. Alone means no weaknesses, no vulnerabilities, no one to lose." And now a 6-year-old girl drew my picture and asked Santa to give her a father who looks strong, and I can't stop thinking about what it would be like to be the person she believes I am. His thumb brushes my cheekbone again, and I'm trembling. "I can't stop thinking about you. About the way you work yourself to exhaustion. About the way you protect her even when you're terrified. About the way you didn't hesitate to hand me that letter even though you knew it could cost you everything." "This is insane," I breathe. "Yes." He smiles. A real smile this time, small and dangerous and entirely too appealing. But I've never been accused of being sane. From the living room, Lily shouts, "Mama, there's a bicycle, a real bicycle with a basket." Vincent's smile widens. She's going to need lessons. I own a private estate with a half-mile driveway. Very safe for beginners. You're impossible. I'm committed. He steps back, giving me space, but his eyes never leave mine. Spend today here. Let her enjoy Christmas. Let yourself breathe. Tomorrow we'll talk about logistics, your apartment, your job, security protocols. I'm not quitting my job. I'm not asking you to. He picks up his coffee again, perfectly calm. I'm promoting you. Executive assistant, direct report to me, significant pay increase, your own office, flexible hours for Lily's schedule. My mouth falls open. You can't just... I can do whatever I want, Thea. That's the benefit of owning the company. He glances at his laptop, then back at me. I have 3 calls this morning, then I'm free. I'll make breakfast. Does Lily like pancakes? She's 6. She survives on pancakes and chicken nuggets. Then pancakes it is. He walks away, phone already to his ear, switching seamlessly into business mode, barking instructions in Italian to someone on the other end, his tone sharp and commanding. And I'm left standing in the kitchen of a penthouse I don't belong in, watching a Mafia boss make Christmas breakfast for my daughter, wondering how my life became a dark romance novel overnight. 3 days later, your ex-husband is dead. Vincent delivers the news over dinner. A private meal in the penthouse, Lily already asleep in the bedroom she's claimed as her own, a bedroom that somehow got fully furnished with a princess bed and a library of books in the span of 48 hours. I set my fork down carefully. What? Prison altercation. Officially. Vincent cuts his steak with precise movements, his expression neutral. Unofficially, he was killed by someone he owed money to. A reminder to others who think they can skip out on debts. I should feel something. Relief, maybe. Grief. Horror. Instead, I just feel numb. You knew this would happen, I say slowly. When you had him arrested. You knew. I suspected. He meets my eyes steadily. His debt was significant. The people he owed don't negotiate. Once he was back in custody, it was only a matter of time. Did you... I can't even finish the question. Did I order it? Vincent asks calmly. No. Did I prevent it? Also no. He was a threat to you and Lily. That threat has been permanently eliminated. I'm not going to apologize for the outcome. I stand abruptly, my chair scraping against the floor. I need air. The balcony. I need real air. Away from... I gesture helplessly at the penthouse, at him, at this surreal situation. Away from this. Something flickers in his expression. Disappointment, maybe. Or understanding. Marcus will accompany you. He pulls out his phone, sends a quick text. Don't argue. You're still at risk until the debt situation is fully resolved. Marcus is discreet. He'll keep his distance. This is insane, I mutter, but I'm already grabbing my coat. Yes, Vincent agrees quietly, but you're safe. That's what matters. I leave without responding because I don't know what to say, because part of me knows he's right, because Ryan was going to hurt us eventually, and now he never can. But that doesn't make it feel less like I've stepped into a world where morality is negotiable and violence is just another business tool. Marcus, a silent, hulking presence with tactical efficiency written into every movement, escorts me to the rooftop garden 20 floors above the penthouse. It's technically still Vincent's property, but it's open to the sky, surrounded by winter plants and heated benches, and for the first time in days, I can breathe. Marcus takes position by the elevator, far enough away to give me privacy, but close enough to respond to threats in seconds. I'm alone with my thoughts and the Chicago skyline, and I finally let myself process. Ryan is dead. The man I married when I was 22, the man I loved before I knew what love should look like, the man who broke my ribs twice and shattered my collarbone once and threatened to take Lily away if I ever left him, that man is gone, and I don't know how to feel about it. You're crying. I spin around, startled. Vincent is standing in the shadows near the elevator, having apparently dismissed Marcus with some silent signal. "I told you I needed space," I say, but my voice cracks. "You have space." He doesn't come closer, just leans against the wall, hands in his pockets. I'm just occupying a different corner of it. Despite everything, I almost smile. That's not how space works. Enlighten me. I turn back to the city, wrapping my arms around myself. I should feel relieved. He's gone. He can't hurt us anymore. But instead, I just feel guilty, Vincent supplies. Because you wanted him gone, and now he is, and you're wondering if wanting something makes you responsible for it happening. I look at him sharply. How did you? Because I've made that calculation 1,000 times. He moves closer now, stopping beside me at the railing. I've wanted people gone. I've made them gone, and I sleep fine at night because I know the alternative was worse. But you're not me, Thea. You didn't make this happen. You didn't kill him. You didn't even ask me to kill him. Did you? The question hangs between us. Vincent is quiet for a long moment. Then, no. But I would have if it became necessary. If he posed an immediate threat, if he got within 100 feet of Lily, I would have killed him myself and slept peacefully knowing you were safe. The honesty is brutal. And somehow it's exactly what I needed to hear. You scare me, I whisper. Good. His hand finds mine on the railing, his fingers warm against the cold metal. Fear means you understand the stakes. But I'm not what you should be afraid of, Thea. I'm what's standing between you and everything else that wants to hurt you. How do I know that? You don't. He turns to face me fully, and in the dim light, his features are all sharp angles and shadows. You take a leap of faith. You trust that I meant what I said. You believe that when I commit to something, I see it through. Commit to what exactly? I challenge. What is this, Vincent? What are we doing? We're building something. His free hand comes up, cupping my face with unexpected gentleness. I don't know what it looks like yet. I don't have a blueprint or a strategy, but I know I want you here. I want Lily safe. I want to come home to something other than an empty penthouse and a bottle of scotch. That's not love, I say, but my voice is shaking. That's loneliness. Maybe. His thumb traces my lower lip, and my breath catches. Or maybe it's the beginning of something neither of us has a name for yet. Maybe it's a mafia boss who never wanted a family meeting a woman who's terrified to trust anyone meeting a 6-year-old who asked Santa for a miracle and somehow got one. This is crazy. Yes. He leans in slowly, giving me every opportunity to pull away. Do you want me to stop? I should say yes. I should establish boundaries. I should remember that this man is dangerous, that his world is violent, that nothing about this situation is safe or sane. Instead, I whisper, no. He kisses me. It's not gentle, it's not tentative. It's the kiss of a man who's decided what he wants and is claiming it, possessive and consuming and entirely overwhelming. I kiss him back like I'm falling, like he's the only solid thing in a world that's been tilting sideways for days, like maybe if I hold on tight enough I can believe this is real. When he finally pulls back, we're both breathing hard. I can't promise I'll be easy to love, Vincent says quietly, his forehead resting against mine. I can't promise I won't scare you sometimes. I can't promise my world won't be dangerous. Then what can you promise? His arms wrap around me, solid and certain. That I'll protect you, that I'll provide for you, that if anyone tries to hurt you or Lily, they'll have to go through me first, and that I'll figure out how to be the man your daughter thinks I am, even if it takes me the rest of my life. I'm crying again, but this time it's different. This time it's not fear or grief, it's relief. Bone-deep, overwhelming relief that I don't have to carry this alone anymore. Okay, I whisper into his chest. Okay? Okay, I'll stay. I'll try. I'll let you do this, whatever this is. His arms tighten around me, and I feel him press a kiss to the top of my head. That's all I need, he says. We'll figure out the rest as we go. 2 weeks later, Lily's bicycle lessons have become a Saturday morning ritual. Vincent's estate, because of course he has an estate, is 45 minutes outside the city, surrounded by security gates and winter gardens and the kind of quiet that only exists when you own everything within a 5-mile radius. The driveway is exactly as advertised, a half-mile stretch of perfect asphalt, slightly sloped, ideal for beginners. And Vincent, impossibly, is patient. "Pedal, Lily. Keep pedaling. I've got you." He's running beside her bicycle, one hand on the seat to keep her steady, his expensive shoes pounding the pavement. He's wearing jeans, actual jeans, which I've learned is Vincent's version of dressing down, and a black Henley, and he looks nothing like a Mafia boss and everything like a father teaching his daughter to ride a bike. Except she's not his daughter. Not really. But watching them together, I'm starting to forget that distinction. "Mama, look!" Lily shouts, pedaling faster, her face lit up with pure joy. "I'm doing it!" "You're doing amazing, baby!" I call from my spot on the bench, wrapped in one of Vincent's coats because I forgot mine, and he insisted. Vincent glances back at me, and the smile on his face is unguarded, genuine, so different from the controlled mask he wears everywhere else. This is the man Lily asked Santa for, the one who smiles like she matters. "I'm letting go," Vincent announces, and Lily shrieks but keeps pedaling, wobbling slightly but staying upright. She makes it another 30 feet before she loses balance and tumbles into the grass, but she's laughing, completely unafraid, and Vincent is already there, scooping her up and checking for injuries. "I did it!" She's bouncing in his arms. "Did you see? I rode by myself." "I saw." He sets her down carefully, then crouches to her level. "You were fearless. I'm proud of you." "Can we try again?" "After lunch. Your mom made sandwiches, and if we don't eat them, she'll worry." Lily considers this, then nods seriously. "Okay, but then more lessons." She runs toward me, chattering excitedly about how fast she went, and how far and how next time she's going to ride all the way to the end of the driveway. Vincent walks over more slowly, his hands in his pockets, and when he reaches me, he leans down and kisses me, casual, comfortable, like we've been doing this for years instead of weeks. "You're good with her," I say quietly. "She makes it easy." He settles onto the bench beside me, close enough that our thighs touch. She doesn't see the rest of it, doesn't see the violence or the power plays or the bodies I've buried. She just sees someone who shows up, pays attention, and keeps his promises. "Is that really so different from what you are?" He looks at me, surprised. "You think I'm good?" "I think you're complicated." I lean into his warmth, letting myself relax in a way I never could before. "I think you've done terrible things for strategic reasons. I think you'll do more terrible things if you have to. But I also think you're trying to be someone different for us, and I think that's worth something." Vincent is quiet for a long moment, then, "I received a call yesterday from the Colombo family. They wanted to know if the rumors are true, if Vincent Carver has a woman and a child now." My stomach drops. "What did you say?" I said yes. His arm comes around my shoulders, pulling me closer. "I said that anyone who threatens what's mine will deal with me personally. I made it very clear that you and Lily are off limits, untouchable, under my absolute protection." "And what did they say?" "They congratulated me." He sounds almost amused. "Apparently, the idea of me being domesticated is so surprising that it's diffused several potential conflicts. They think fatherhood will make me soft, distracted. They're wrong, but let them think it. It buys us time." "Time for what?" "For me to restructure my operations, to delegate more, to build something sustainable that doesn't require me to personally oversee every violent negotiation." He pauses. "For me to figure out how to be the man your daughter thinks I am without dismantling everything I've built." I twist to look at him fully. "You're serious? You're actually restructuring your entire criminal empire because of us?" "Yes." "That's insane." "I've been told." He kisses me again, slower this time, deeper. "But I've made my choice. You're worth more than territory. Lily's worth more than power, and I'm going to prove it. To you, to her, to myself. From across the lawn, Lily calls, "Are you kissing?" Gross. Vincent pulls back with a laugh, a real laugh, unguarded and warm. She's right. Very gross. Come on, let's eat these sandwiches before she decides we're too embarrassing to be around. He stands, offering me his hand, and I take it without hesitation. Because somewhere between the letter to Santa and the bicycle lessons, between the fear and the safety, I stopped questioning whether this could work. I started believing it already is. 1 month later, the conference room on the 47th floor is full of Vincent's associates, men in expensive suits with dangerous eyes, the kind of men who solve problems with violence first and questions later. I'm not supposed to be here. Executive assistants don't attend these meetings. But Vincent insisted. "Gentlemen," he says, his voice cutting through the low conversations, "thank you for coming. We have business to discuss, but first, an introduction." He gestures to where I'm standing beside his chair, my heart pounding but my expression neutral. "This is Thea Hayes, my executive assistant, partner, and the woman I'm committing to publicly. Anything that threatens her threatens me. Anyone who disrespects her disrespects me. I trust this is understood." The silence is absolute. Then, slowly, each man in the room nods. "Good." Vincent's hand finds mine under the table, squeezing once. "Now, let's talk about the restructuring. I'm delegating operational oversight to the regional captains, effective immediately." I tune out the details, focused instead on the weight of what just happened. Vincent Carver just claimed me in front of the most dangerous men in Chicago. He just made me untouchable. He just changed the entire power dynamic of his world because of a little girl's letter to Santa and a single mother who was too tired to keep fighting alone. Later, when the meeting ends and the men file out with wary respect in their eyes, Vincent pulls me into his office and closes the door. "Are you angry?" he asks. "Why would I be angry?" "Because I made a decision that affects your safety without asking permission first." I consider this. Then I step closer, closing the distance between us, my hands resting on his chest. "I'm terrified," I admit. "I'm way out of my depth. I have no idea what I'm doing in this world." But Lily hasn't had nightmares in 3 weeks. I haven't cried myself to sleep once. And this morning, she asked me if Vincent was going to be her dad for real or just for pretend. I look up at him, this impossible, dangerous, complicated man. What do I tell her? Vincent's hands cup my face, his touch careful despite the violence I know he's capable of. "Tell her," he says quietly, "that Vincent Carver keeps his promises. Tell her that when he commits to something, he doesn't back down. Tell her that if she wants a dad who looks strong and makes her mom smile, she's got one." My vision blurs with tears. "You mean that?" "I mean that." He kisses my forehead, my cheeks, my lips, gentle and reverent. "I'm all in, Thea. You, Lily. This life we're building, I'm committed, completely. Even though we're complicated and messy and traumatized? Especially because of that." His smile is small but genuine. "I don't do simple, I do impossible. And making this work, making us work, is the most impossible thing I've ever attempted, which means it's the only thing worth doing." I kiss him then, pouring everything I can't say into the contact. Gratitude, fear, hope, trust. When we finally pull apart, I whisper, "Lily wants to have a tea party tomorrow. She says you have to come and wear a crown." Vincent doesn't even hesitate. "What time?" 3 o'clock. "I'll clear my schedule." And that's when I know, really know, that this is real. Because Vincent Carver, the most feared man in Chicago, is going to wear a paper crown and drink pretend tea with a 6-year-old girl. Because a letter to Santa became a promise. And in his world, promises are everything. 6 months later, the adoption paperwork is spread across Vincent's desk. Lily is officially Lily Carver now, legally, permanently, irrevocably his daughter. She's at school, oblivious to the legal machinations that have been happening for months. But tonight, we're going to tell her. Tonight, she'll learn that the dad she asked Santa for is permanent. I'm standing at the window of Vincent's office, the same window where I stood 6 months ago holding a letter written in purple crayon, and I'm marveling at how completely my life has transformed. "You're thinking too loud," Vincent says, coming up behind me and wrapping his arms around my waist. "I'm thinking about Santa," I admit, about how Lily wrote that letter believing in magic, and somehow the magic worked. It wasn't magic. His lips brush my neck. It was a smart, brave little girl who knew what she needed and asked for it, and a mother who was strong enough to accept help when it came. And a mafia boss who decided to be a father. That too. He turns me around to face him, his expression serious. "I have something for you." He pulls a small box from his pocket. Velvet, elegant, expensive. My breath catches. "Vincent, open it." Inside is a ring, a stunning emerald surrounded by diamonds, the kind of ring that costs more than most people make in a year. "This isn't a proposal," he says quickly. "Not yet. Not until you're ready. But it's a promise, a symbol, a reminder that you're mine, I'm yours, and I'm not going anywhere." I can't speak, can't breathe. He slides the ring onto my right hand, then kisses my knuckles. "Whenever you're ready," he says quietly. "A year, 5 years, 10 years, I'll wait. But I need you to know that I've already decided. You're it for me, Thea. You and Lily. This is my family, this is my life. Everything else is just strategy and power plays. But this is real." I'm crying, but this time it's purely joy. "I'm ready," I whisper. He stills. "What?" "I'm ready." I look up at him. This impossible man who reshaped his entire world because a little girl asked Santa for a miracle. "Ask me properly." A slow smile spreads across his face, genuine, unguarded, full of a happiness I never thought I'd see in Vincent Carver. He drops to one knee right there in his office, still holding my hand, the city sprawling behind us through floor-to-ceiling windows. "Thea Hayes," he says, his voice steady and certain, "will you marry me? Will you let me spend the rest of my life proving I'm the man your daughter believed I could be? Will you trust me with your heart, your future, your faith?" "Yes." I'm laughing and crying simultaneously. "Yes, yes, yes." He stands, pulling me into a kiss that feels like a vow, passionate, consuming, permanent. When we finally break apart, he's grinning like a man who just won the most important negotiation of his life. "Lily is going to lose her mind," I say, laughing. "Lily is going to plan the entire wedding," he corrects. "I've learned not to underestimate that girl's organizational skills. She gets it from her mother. She gets her bravery from her mother, too." He kisses me again, softer this time. "Thank you for taking the leap, for trusting me, for letting me be part of this." "Thank you for reading her letter," I whisper back. "Thank you for not laughing. Thank you for deciding we were worth the risk. Best risk I ever took." That night, we tell Lily together about the adoption, about the engagement, about how the dad she asked Santa for is permanent and real and completely hers. She cries happy tears, hugs us both fiercely, and then immediately starts planning the wedding with the seriousness of a military general. And I realize, watching Vincent patiently listen to her detailed ideas about flower arrangements and cake flavors, that Santa didn't grant Lily's wish. Lily granted ours. She asked for a father who looked strong, and in doing so, she gave Vincent a reason to be strong in a completely different way. She asked for her mom to be happy and safe, and in doing so, she taught me that accepting help isn't weakness. It's courage. She asked for a family, and in doing so, she created one. Magic isn't real. But sometimes, when a brave little girl writes a letter in purple crayon, and a lonely man decides to be the person she believes he is, and a terrified woman chooses to trust one more time. Sometimes, the universe arranges itself into something that feels an awful lot like magic. And that's enough. 2 months after the engagement. The wedding planning has taken over my life in ways I never anticipated. Lily has transformed our dining room table into command central. Fabric swatches, flower catalogs, sketches of dresses she's drawn herself, all organized with color-coded tabs that would make a project manager weep with joy. She's appointed herself the chief wedding officer, and Vincent, to his credit, treats every single one of her suggestions with the gravity of a board meeting. "Mama, we need to talk about the cake." Lily looks up from her clipboard, an actual clipboard that Vincent bought her, complete with official Carver Industries letterhead that she insisted on having. "Vincent says we can have 7 tiers, but I think that's showing off. What do you think?" I'm folding laundry, trying to maintain some semblance of normalcy despite the fact that we're planning a wedding that will essentially announce to Chicago's entire criminal underworld that Vincent Carver has permanently claimed a family. "I think 7 tiers is a lot of cake," I say diplomatically. "That's what I said." Lily makes a note on her clipboard. 5 tiers. Compromise. Vincent taught me that word. It means both people give up something to make it fair. My heart squeezes. 2 months ago, my daughter didn't have a father figure. Now she's learning negotiation tactics from a mafia boss who treats her opinions like they matter more than territorial disputes. The penthouse door opens, and Vincent walks in, followed by Marcus and another man I don't recognize. Late 50s, silver hair, expensive suit, eyes that have seen violence and emerged unfazed. "Thea." Vincent's voice has shifted into business mode, which means this isn't a social call. "This is Robert Chen. He handles my overseas operations. We need to talk. Privately." Lily looks up, instantly reading the room with the intuition children develop when they've lived through instability. "I'll go work on seating charts in my room." She gathers her materials with practiced efficiency and disappears down the hallway, and I'm reminded that despite the princess bedroom and the bicycle lessons and the happiness, she still carries the survival skills of a child who learned early that adults' moods determine safety. Once her door closes, Vincent's expression darkens. "There's a problem," he says without preamble. "The Mikhailov family in New York has decided that my domestication represents an opportunity. They're planning to leverage you and Lily as negotiating tools." My blood turns to ice. "Meaning?" "Meaning." Robert Chen speaks for the first time, his voice accented but precise. "They believe Vincent's attachment to you makes him vulnerable. They're exploring ways to exploit that vulnerability. Kidnapping, threats, psychological warfare." I sink onto the couch, my legs suddenly unsteady. "I thought, you said claiming us publicly would make us untouchable." "It does," Vincent says immediately, moving to sit beside me, his hand finding mine. "In my territory, among families who understand the consequences of crossing me. But the Mikhailovs operate differently. They're new money, aggressive, and they don't respect traditional boundaries. They see an opening, and they're testing whether I'm weak enough to exploit." "So what do we do?" My voice is steadier than I feel. Vincent exchanges a glance with Marcus and Robert. Then he turns back to me, and his expression is the most serious I've ever seen. "We move up the wedding," he says. "We make it a public spectacle. We invite every major family on the East Coast. We make it abundantly clear that you're not a weakness. You're an extension of my power, and anyone who threatens you is declaring war on me and everyone allied with me." "You want to turn our wedding into a Mafia summit," I say slowly. "I want to turn our wedding into a statement that eliminates all ambiguity about your status," Vincent corrects. "Robert has already started reaching out to key allies, the Colombos in New Jersey, the Giordanos in Boston, the Sullivan family in Philadelphia. They'll all attend, and their attendance sends a message that attacking you means fighting all of us." I'm trying to process this, trying to reconcile the romantic notion of a wedding with the strategic reality of Vincent's world. "And Lily?" I ask quietly. "How do we protect her from all this?" "Enhanced security protocols," Marcus says, speaking for the first time. "Personal detail at school, armored transport, safe house locations pre-arranged, and I'll be with her personally whenever you and Vincent can't be. Vincent's hand tightens on mine. I know this isn't what you imagined. I know asking you to turn our wedding into a power play is necessary, I interrupt. It's necessary, because these people aren't going to respect romance or love or any normal boundaries. They only respect strength and consequences. I meet his eyes. So we show them both. We get married, we invite everyone, and we make it crystal clear that we're a unit, not a weakness, a partnership. Something in Vincent's expression shifts. Pride, maybe. Respect. How did I get so lucky? He murmurs. You read a letter to Santa, I remind him, and you decided to be the kind of man a 6-year-old believed in. Everything else is just logistics. Robert Chen actually smiles at that. She's good for you, Vincent. Keeps you grounded. She keeps me human, Vincent corrects. Then he stands, pulling me up with him. Robert, work with Marcus on the security details. I want redundancies on redundancies. Thea, you and I need to tell Lily about the new timeline. She's not going to be happy we're rushing her planning process. She'll adapt, I say. She always does. But as we walk toward her bedroom, I can't shake the feeling that we're walking into something much bigger than a wedding. We're walking into a declaration of war. Lily takes the news better than expected. She's sitting cross-legged on her bed, surrounded by wedding magazines, when Vincent and I explain that the wedding needs to happen in 6 weeks instead of 6 months. 6 weeks? She looks up, her expression serious. That's not a lot of time. I know, sweetheart, I say. But it's important. Vincent has business reasons. Bad people want to hurt us because Vincent loves us, Lily interrupts, her voice matter of fact, and having the wedding faster with lots of Vincent's friends there will make the bad people know they can't. Vincent and I exchange shocked glances. How did you... I start. I heard you talking, she says simply. I'm not a baby, Mama. I know Vincent's job is dangerous. I know that's why Marcus is always around now. I know we moved here because Dad was going to hurt us, and Vincent stopped him. My throat tightens. Lily, you shouldn't have to worry about... But I don't worry, she says, and her smile is genuine. Because Vincent always keeps his promises. He said he'd keep us safe. And he does. So if we need to have the wedding faster to stay safe, that's okay. We'll just work harder. Vincent crouches down beside her bed, his expression unguarded in the way it only ever is with her. You are the bravest person I know, he says quietly. You know that? Lily considers this seriously. Then, can I still have the flower girl dress with the sparkles? You can have whatever you want, Vincent promises. And can we still have the chocolate fountain? Absolutely. And can you teach me more Italian words so I can surprise Nonna at the wedding? Vincent goes still. Nonna? Your mom, Lily says, like it's obvious. I'm going to be your daughter for real after the wedding, right? So she's going to be my grandmother. I should know how to say nice things in Italian. I watch Vincent's composure crack. Just slightly, just enough to see the emotion underneath. He's mentioned his mother exactly once, a passing comment about her living in Italy, retired from the life, wanting nothing to do with his business. She's not... Lily, she might not come to the wedding, Vincent says carefully. Did you invite her? No. Why not? Vincent looks at me helplessly, and I realize this is the first time I've seen him genuinely uncertain about how to handle a situation. It's complicated, he finally says. That's what adults say when they're scared, Lily observes. You should invite her. Grandmas are important, and if she doesn't come, at least you tried. That's what you always tell me, that trying is what matters. Using his own logic against him, I'm so proud I could cry. Vincent stands slowly, running a hand through his hair, a rare gesture of agitation. I'll think about it, he says. Okay. Lily returns to her magazines, apparently satisfied. Can you both leave now? I have a lot of work to do if we only have 6 weeks. Dismissed by a 7-year-old wedding planner. We retreat to the living room, and Vincent immediately pours himself a scotch. She's right, I say quietly. About which part? All of it. But especially about your mother. When's the last time you spoke to her? Vincent takes a long drink before answering. 12 years. She left Chicago after my father was killed, said she couldn't watch me follow the same path, said she didn't raise a son to become a monster. The pain in his voice is carefully controlled, but unmistakable. You're not a monster, I say firmly. Aren't I? He turns to face me, and his expression is raw. I've killed people, Thea. I've ordered deaths. I've built an empire on violence and fear and strategic cruelty. My mother saw who I was becoming, and she left. How do I invite her to watch me marry someone when she thinks I'm incapable of love? I walk over to him, taking the Scotch glass from his hand and setting it aside. Then I frame his face with my hands, forcing him to look at me. You read a letter from a 6-year-old and decided to change your entire life, I say. You learned to ride bicycles and have tea parties and braid hair, badly, but you're getting better. You hold Lily when she has nightmares about her father. You've restructured your entire organization so you can be home for dinner. You're not the man your mother left. You're the man her son became after he found something worth being better for. Vincent's eyes are suspiciously bright. She won't believe that. Then let her see it. I kiss him softly. Invite her. Let her meet Lily. Let her see who you are now. And if she still can't accept it, at least you'll know you tried. Because Lily's right, trying is what matters. He's quiet for a long moment. Then he pulls out his phone. I need a number, he says to whoever answers. My mother, in Italy, and I need it now. 3 weeks later. The private airstrip is freezing. Lily is bouncing on her toes despite the cold, wearing the winter coat Vincent bought her, white with fake fur trim, making her look like a tiny snow princess. She's been practicing Italian phrases for 2 weeks straight, determined to make a perfect first impression. What if she doesn't like me? Lily asks suddenly, her confidence wavering. Vincent crouches down, adjusting her scarf. Impossible. You're impossible not to like. But what if she's still mad at you and she takes it out on me? It's a surprisingly mature concern for a 7-year-old, and it reminds me that Lily has experienced enough adult dysfunction to understand that anger doesn't always go where it belongs. Then I'll handle it, Vincent says firmly. But Lily, I need you to understand something. My mother left because she was scared for me, because she loved me enough to walk away rather than watch me destroy myself. That's not anger. That's heartbreak. And you're evidence that she was wrong to give up on me. Because you're better now? Because I'm trying to be better now, and that's what matters. The private jet appears on the horizon, small, sleek, expensive. Vincent stands, and I feel the tension radiating off him. For a man who negotiates with crime lords and orchestrates complex operations without breaking a sweat, he's terrified of his mother's judgment. The plane lands smoothly, and after a moment, the door opens. Teresa Carver is nothing like I expected. She's petite, barely 5 feet tall, with silver hair cut in a stylish bob, wearing a cream-colored coat and elegant boots. She looks like she should be running a boutique in Milan, not emerging from a plane to judge whether her son has become irredeemable. She descends the stairs carefully, her eyes scanning the airstrip until they land on Vincent. The silence stretches. Then Lily, bless her brave heart, breaks it. Buongiorno, nonna, she calls out, waving enthusiastically. Sono Lily. Sono felice di conoscerti. Good morning, grandmother. I'm Lily. I'm happy to meet you. Teresa's attention snaps to Lily, and something in her expression softens instantly. She walks over, past Vincent, past me, directly to Lily, and crouches down with a grace that speaks to decades of careful living. Il tuo italiano è bellissimo, she says gently. Your Italian is beautiful. Vincent taught me, Lily beams. He's teaching me lots of things. He's going to be my dad officially after the wedding. Do you want to see pictures? I have them on Mama's phone. I'm the flower girl and I have a sparkly dress and there's going to be a chocolate fountain and… Lily, I interrupt gently, let Nonna breathe. But Teresa is smiling, genuinely smiling, and when she looks up at me, there's something like gratitude in her eyes. "You must be Thea," she says, switching to English with only a slight accent, "the woman who convinced my son that there's more to life than power." "I'm the woman he decided to build a life with," I correct gently. The convincing was all him. Teresa stands and finally, she looks at Vincent. "Figlio mio," she says softly. "My son." Vincent's composure cracks. "Mama." They stand there, 3 feet apart, 12 years of silence and hurt and fear between them. Then Teresa closes the distance and pulls him into a fierce hug. "You invited me," she says, her voice muffled against his chest. "After everything, you invited me." "I learned recently that trying is what matters," Vincent says roughly, his arms wrapping around her. "Even when you're scared." "Who taught you that?" Vincent pulls back slightly, looking down at Lily, who's watching with wide eyes. "She did." With Teresa's arrival, the wedding planning enters a new phase, one that involves 3 generations of strong-willed individuals with very different ideas about what constitutes an appropriate celebration. "Absolutely not," Teresa says firmly, looking at the proposed guest list. "You cannot seat the Colombo family next to the Giordanos. They have a blood feud going back 30 years. "The blood feud was resolved last year," Vincent counters. "Marco Colombo and Tony Giordano brokered a truce over the New Jersey ports." "A truce is not friendship, Vincent. You seat them near each other, and someone's going to end up bleeding before the appetizers arrive." Lily looks up from her seating chart diagrams, deeply concerned. "Will they ruin the wedding?" "No, Piccolina," Teresa assures her. "We'll put them on opposite sides of the room with nice families in between as buffers. Problem solved." I'm watching this exchange from the kitchen, making coffee, and marveling at how quickly Teresa has integrated into our chaotic household. She's been here 5 days, and she's already reorganized the pantry, taught Lily 3 Italian songs, and begun gently pushing back on some of Vincent's more extreme security measures. "She thinks I'm paranoid," Vincent says, appearing beside me and stealing my coffee mug. "You are paranoid," I point out. "But in this case, it's justified." His expression darkens slightly. "The Mikhailovs haven't made a move yet. That worries me more than if they'd already attacked. They're planning something." "And you have people watching them?" "I have people watching everyone." He takes a sip of my coffee, grimaces, and adds more sugar. "Robert's team has been tracking their movements. They've been quiet. Too quiet. Maybe they got the message. Maybe—" "No." His voice is firm. "They're waiting for the wedding. They're going to make a move when we're most visible, most vulnerable, when the entire East Coast criminal network is gathered in one place." My stomach twists. "So we're walking into a trap. We're walking into an opportunity to end this permanently." He sets the mug down, turning to face me fully. "I've been coordinating with the other families. If the Mikhailovs make a move at the wedding, they'll be declaring war on everyone present. It'll be the excuse we need to eliminate them as a threat permanently." "Vincent, you're talking about—" "I'm talking about keeping you and Lily safe," he interrupts. "I'm talking about making sure that after the wedding, no one questions your status. No one tests whether I'm serious about protecting you. They'll know, definitively, that you're untouchable." I want to argue. I want to say there has to be another way, but I've lived in Vincent's world long enough now to understand the brutal reality. Strength is the only language these people understand, and demonstrating strength requires being willing to follow through on threats. "Okay," I say quietly, but Lily doesn't get anywhere near the danger. Whatever happens, she stays safe. "Marcus will have her in a secure location the entire time," Vincent promises, "along with my mother. They'll be off-site, protected, completely removed from any potential violence. Your mother won't like being sidelined. My mother has survived 40 years in this world by being smart enough to know when to step back." He pulls me closer, his arms wrapping around me. "I'm going to marry you in 3 weeks, Thea, and after that no one will ever threaten our family again. That's a promise." "This is it," Michelle declares. "This is the dress." I'm still staring at my reflection when my phone buzzes. A text from Vincent. "How's the dress shopping?" I smile and text back. "You'll see it at the wedding. Isn't that tradition?" "I don't follow traditions. Send me a picture." "Absolutely not. You're enjoying having leverage over me, aren't you?" "Immensely." His response is a single emoji, the one with the slightly amused expression, and I'm laughing as I put my phone away. "He wants to see the dress," I tell Teresa. She smiles knowingly. Of course he does. Vincent has always hated not having complete information. Making him wait is probably the worst torture you could inflict. "Good," I say. He deserves a little torture after all the stress of the past few weeks. But as I change back into my regular clothes, I catch Teresa's expression in the mirror. Worried. Thoughtful. "What is it?" I ask. She waits until Lily and Michelle are distracted before speaking. "Vincent is planning something," she says quietly. "Something dangerous for the wedding. I can see it in how he moves, how he talks. He's preparing for war." "I know," I admit. "There's a threat. He's handling it. By putting himself in danger? By eliminating the threat before it can hurt us." I turn to face her. "I know you don't approve of his world. I know you left because you couldn't watch him become this. But Teresa, he's good at what he does. And right now, what he does is keeping me and Lily alive." Teresa is quiet for a long moment. Then, "I didn't leave because I thought he was bad at it. I left because he was too good at it. Because I watched my husband become a monster in the name of protecting family, and I couldn't watch my son follow the same path." She meets my eyes. "But maybe I was wrong. Maybe having something worth protecting changes the equation." "He's different with us," I say softly. "You've seen it." "I have?" She smiles sadly. "He's happier than I've ever seen him. More human." That terrifies me, Thea, because it means he has something to lose. And men like Vincent, when they have something to lose, they become desperate, dangerous. He's always been dangerous. Not like this, not with his heart involved. She places a hand on my arm. "Promise me something. If it comes down to it, if Vincent has to choose between his pride and your safety, promise me you'll make him choose you. Not the reputation, not the power, you." I promise, even though I'm not sure I'll be able to keep it, because I've learned enough about Vincent's world to know that sometimes reputation and power are the only things keeping you safe. 1 week before the wedding, Vincent disappears for the evening with Robert, Marcus, and a group of his most trusted associates. "It's tradition," he explains when Lily pouts about him leaving. "The night before the wedding week, the groom celebrates with his friends." "What do Mafia bosses do at bachelor parties?" I ask, only half joking. Vincent's smile is mysterious. "Nothing you need to worry about." After he leaves, Teresa, Lily, and I have our own celebration. Wine for us, sparkling cider for Lily, and terrible reality TV that Teresa pretends to be scandalized by but secretly enjoys. "Tell me about Vincent's father," I say during a commercial break. Teresa's expression shifts. Grief, even after all these years. "Luca was complicated," she says carefully. "Brilliant, charming, absolutely ruthless. He built the Carver empire from nothing, and he ruled it with an iron fist. He loved me, in his way. But he loved power more." "How did he die?" "Betrayal. One of his closest associates turned on him, sold him out to a rival family. Vincent was 22. He found his father's body." She takes a long sip of wine. "That was the moment my son died, and Vincent Carver was born. He hunted down everyone involved in the betrayal. He killed them all, and then he rebuilt the organization stronger, smarter, more ruthless than his father ever managed." I'm quiet, processing this. "I don't tell you this to scare you," Teresa continues. "I tell you so you understand. Vincent has already lost everything once. He'll do anything to prevent losing you and Lily. That makes him extraordinarily protective. It also makes him willing to cross lines that shouldn't be crossed." "Lines like what?" Before she can answer, her phone buzzes. She glances at it, frowns, then stands abruptly. "I need to make a call," she says. "Watch Lily. She disappears into the guest room, and I'm left with a growing sense of unease. 20 minutes later, she emerges, her expression grim. "What's wrong?" I ask immediately. "The Mikhailovs," she says quietly, glancing at Lily to make sure she's absorbed in her show. "They just made their move. Not against you. Against Vincent. Tonight." My heart stops. What? Robert just called. The bachelor party was ambushed, there was a firefight. She sees my expression and quickly adds, "Vincent is alive. He's fine. But there were casualties on both sides." I'm on my feet, grabbing my phone, dialing Vincent's number with shaking hands. He answers on the second ring. "Thea, are you hurt?" My voice is raw. "No, bruised, angry, but not hurt." I can hear sirens in the background, voices shouting. "It was a coordinated attack, professional. They came prepared." "Where are you?" "Cleaning up." His voice is cold now, distant, the voice of Vincent Carver, the crime lord, not Vincent, the man who braids Lily's hair. "Stay in the penthouse. Marcus is on his way back to reinforce security. Don't leave until I get there." "Vincent, I have to go. I love you. Tell Lily I'll be home soon." He hangs up before I can respond. I stand there, phone in hand, Teresa watching me with understanding in her eyes. "This is the life," she says quietly. "Violence, danger, never knowing if he'll come home. Can you live with this, Thea?" I think about Lily, sleeping peacefully for the first time in her life because she feels safe. I think about Vincent, teaching her to ride a bike with infinite patience. I think about the future we're trying to build, imperfect, dangerous, but ours. "Yes," I say firmly, "I can live with this." Because the alternative, going back to the fear, the vulnerability, the constant threat of Ryan showing up drunk and violent, that's worse. At least with Vincent, we're fighting back. 3 days before the wedding. Vincent comes home at 3 a.m. and I'm still awake. He's wearing different clothes than when he left. Someone else's jacket, I think, and there's a bruise forming along his jaw. His knuckles are raw. "You killed them," I say. It's not a question. "Not all of them." He pours himself a scotch, drinks it in one swallow, pours another. "The ones who organized the ambush are dead. The Mikhailov brothers are in hiding. But they got the message." "Which is?" "That attacking me means war. That I have allies willing to die for me. That coming after my family is a death sentence." He finally looks at me, and his eyes are haunted. "I'm sorry you have to see this side of me. I knew what you were when I agreed to marry you." Knowing and seeing are different. He sets the glass down, moves toward me. "I'm covered in blood, Thea. Metaphorically mostly, but still. I've spent the past 6 hours orchestrating violence. I've made decisions that will haunt me, and in 3 days you're going to promise to love me anyway." "Yes," I say simply. "I am." "Why?" "Because you came home." I reach up, tracing the bruise on his jaw gently. "Because you could have sent Marcus to deliver the news, but you came home yourself. Because even covered in metaphorical blood, the first thing you did was ask if we were safe. Because you're not your father, Vincent. You have lines you won't cross. And I trust those lines." He pulls me into a fierce embrace, and I feel him shaking slightly. Adrenaline, fear, relief all crashing together. "The Mikhailovs will make one more play," he says quietly. "At the wedding. They're backed into a corner now, desperate. They'll try something dramatic, public. Then we'll be ready." "We?" I pull back to look at him. "You think I'm going to stand beside you for the ceremony and then run when things get dangerous? I'm part of this now, Vincent. We handle it together." Something in his expression shifts. Gratitude, love, and a fierce possessiveness that should probably terrify me but instead makes me feel safe. "Together," he agrees. "I'll keep you safe." "I know you will." I kiss him softly. "Now come to bed. You need rest. The next 3 days are going to be chaos." We go to bed, wrapped around each other, and for the first time since the ambush, I feel Vincent's breathing even out into sleep. He trusts me to keep watch. And I do. Wedding day. The cathedral is magnificent. Vincent chose it specifically for its historical significance. It's where generations of Chicago's Italian families have held their most important ceremonies. The architecture is old-world elegant, with vaulted ceilings, stained glass windows, and enough space to accommodate the 300 guests who've been carefully vetted and arranged according to complex political alliances. I'm in a preparation room with Teresa and Lily, and I can hear the murmur of arriving guests through the thick doors. "Mama, you're shaking," Lily observes. "I'm nervous," I admit. "Don't be." She adjusts her flower crown with utmost seriousness. "Vincent loves you, and Marcus says the security is tighter than Fort Knox, whatever that means." Teresa smiles. "It means we're as safe as we can be. Now let's get you into your dress." The process of getting ready is surreal. Professional stylists doing my hair and makeup, Teresa fastening the buttons on the back of my dress, Lily spinning in her sparkly flower girl gown. When I'm finally ready, I barely recognize myself in the mirror. The woman looking back is elegant, powerful, certain. Not the terrified single mother who worked late on Christmas Eve. Not the victim who ran from an abusive ex-husband. Someone new. Someone who chose this life. This man, this dangerous, beautiful future. There's a knock on the door, and Marcus enters, in a tuxedo, which is somehow more intimidating than his usual tactical gear. "It's time," he says. "Vincent is waiting." My heart starts racing. "Is he nervous?" I ask. Marcus actually smiles. Terrified, but he'd never admit it. "Come on, Mrs. Carver, let's make it official." The ceremony is a blur. I walk down the aisle on Robert Chen's arm, Vincent's choice, a symbol of our blended worlds, and every eye in the cathedral is on me. I recognize some faces from the few social events I've attended. Others are completely unknown, powerful and dangerous in expensive suits. But I only see Vincent. He's standing at the altar in a black tuxedo that must be custom-made because it fits him like armor. His hair is perfectly styled. His expression is controlled. But when our eyes meet, I see everything underneath. The fear, the love, the absolute commitment. The ceremony itself is traditional. Prayers in Latin, vows exchanged in English, rings blessed by a priest who definitely knows who Vincent is and has made his peace with it. When Vincent slides the ring onto my finger, his hand is steady. When I repeat my vows, my voice doesn't shake. And when the priest says, "You may kiss your bride," Vincent pulls me close and kisses me like we're the only two people in the world. The cathedral erupts in applause. We're married. I'm Mrs. Vincent Carver. And then everything goes to hell. The attack. It happens during the reception. We're at the grand ballroom of the historic Palmer House, surrounded by Chicago's elite, both legitimate and criminal. Lily is dancing with one of the Colombo family's nephews, a shy 12-year-old who Teresa vetted personally. Teresa herself is holding court with a group of older Italian women, somehow managing to be both charming and intimidating. Vincent and I are dancing, our first dance as husband and wife, and for a moment I let myself forget about the threats, the danger, the violence simmering under the surface of this beautiful celebration. Then I see Marcus moving quickly through the crowd, his expression grim. He reaches Vincent, whispers something urgent. Vincent's entire demeanor shifts, from husband to commander in 3 seconds. "What's wrong?" I ask immediately. "Mikhailov's," Vincent says tersely. "They're here. Multiple points of entry. This is their play." My blood runs cold. "Lily." "Already secured," Marcus confirms. "Teresa has her in the kitchen safe room. Reinforced doors, separate exit. They're protected." Vincent is already moving, pulling me with him toward the edge of the ballroom. Other guests are starting to notice something's wrong, conversations dying, people reaching for hidden weapons. Then the first gunshot. It's deafening in the enclosed space, and suddenly everyone is moving, some diving for cover, others pulling weapons, the carefully constructed political detente dissolving into chaos. Vincent shoves me behind a marble pillar, his own gun appearing from somewhere. Shoulder holster, probably. "Stay here," he commands. "Do not move." "Vincent, Thea, I need you to stay alive. Please." He kisses me once, hard and fast, then he's gone. moving with Marcus and a group of his men toward the source of the gunfire. I'm pressed against cold marble, my heart racing, my beautiful wedding dress suddenly feeling like a ridiculous liability. Around me I can hear shouting, Italian, Russian, English all mixing together. More gunshots, the sound of breaking glass. This is what Teresa warned me about. This is the reality of Vincent's world, and I'm terrified. But I'm also angry. The Mikhailovs chose my wedding, Lily's wedding day, the day she got a father, to make their statement. I pull out my phone, hands shaking, and dial Marcus. "Are you hurt?" He answers immediately. "No." "Where's Lily?" "Safe. Teresa has her, and they're 2 floors down in a reinforced room. The Mikhailovs can't reach them." "And Vincent?" A pause. "Fighting." "I'm coming." "The hell you are. Stay where Vincent put you. He'll kill me if anything happens to you." "I'm not helpless, Marcus. I can—" An explosion cuts me off, not close but close enough to shake the building. The phone goes dead. I'm alone, in a war zone, on my wedding day. And I have to make a choice: stay hidden and pray Vincent wins, or find a way to help end this. I choose help, to be continued.